So SDS just finished up their second feature premiere for MLB The Show 21, and this one was all about fielding and the fielding improvements they've made for the new game. As I'm sure many of you guys know, fielding was a bit of an issue for MLB The Show 20, and by the looks of this video that they just put out, fielding hopefully should be playing and running a lot smoother. So I'm gonna go over all the things they talked about in this video. I will also leave the SDS stream linked in the description if you want to go check it out for yourself. If you guys want to keep up with all the MLB The Show 21 news as it is coming out, make sure to subscribe. I got you covered. This is the place to be. But let's go ahead and jump into it. Before we even talk about the fielding, they did reveal a brand new legend at the end of the stream. Roll the clip. Grady Sizemore is a brand new legend coming into MLB The Show 21. I know my boy Fuzzy is hyped. Grady will be a cool card. I don't think he'll be the best card in the game, or I don't even think he'll be a top 3 outfielder in the game, but it is nice that we get that guy added into the pool of legends, and he should be a fun card to use overall. So Grady, I'm cool with. But now let's jump into the fielding stuff. So one of the big things they've added this year is a bunch of new indicators to hopefully help you make better plays in the outfield. These indicators include the route to ball indicator, base for play, catch ball, enhanced tag up catch, extreme wall catch, rob home run, and routine fly ball. Let's start it off with the route to ball indicator.
The track ball indicator, as you can see on the screen right now when you're watching, that's essentially just showing you the route to the ball. So when the ball's hit, the CPU is always going to start you in a direction, and that line is going to be drawn directly to where you need to go run and make the catch. So it's pretty straightforward. You follow the line, you go make the catch. If you deviate off that line, you're going to get a little rumble feedback trying to get you back on the line. So it's nice to have that feedback to know, like, look, it's obvious that I should be staying on that line. Part of that route to ball indicator is we're going to have, if you get into a situation where there's a dive available, we will have a line toward the end of that when you need to jump. So that's when you're going to need to hit R2.
I really like this, man. Sometimes taking bad routes is the difference between making the play and missing the ball in the outfield. We've all taken a bad route or two in this game. It's happened to the best of us. And now that we have this guide, this should help a lot more on some of those in-between plays that it might be a little bit tougher to judge from the naked eye. Next up, we have base for play.
Base for play is another one that we're going to default on. This is really cool. Essentially, it's just a coach telling you where to throw the ball. So instead of having auto throwing on, which we did before with beginners, we're trying to teach you how to play the game. So we're showing you the icons of what base to throw to, and then along with the icon, the associated base. So if it's triangle, you're going to see second base is highlighted. If it's square, you're going to see third base is highlighted, so you know where to throw.
So this one for me, it doesn't seem as necessary as some of the others, but it is a nice addition. I don't really feel like I need the game to tell me where to throw, considering I have a pretty good understanding of where the runners are and how many outs and so on and so forth. But for somebody that may be newer to the game, this could be a big help for them. Next up, we got the no drift ball indicator.
And the third thing that we're defaulting on for casual is the track ball indicator. So we have 3 different track ball indicators, and the one that we're going to default on is basically the stationary one. So it's going to show you exactly where you need to run to go catch a fly ball. It's not going to drift and it's not going to track, so you'll know exactly where to go.
So this one's a welcome addition too, no issues there. So this one, the base for play and the route to ball are all going to be on by default, but you can customize your settings to turn on or off any of these indicators that are showing. Then next up, we've got the tag up indicator.
The tag up catch indicator is pretty straightforward. What we did with that this year is we added more logic. So as you can see there in the videos, you could see we put it in a position where you're going to want to get behind the ball. So it comes up situationally. Obviously, when guys are tagging up and guys are trying to score from third or from second, we're going to throw that indicator up and put you in better position. Now, Ramon, the coolest thing about this is we added tons of animations for tag up catches. People are going to love it. No matter what direction you come in at that tag ball indicator, we're going to pull you in and give you a nice catch that gives you a running start so you can get the most out of your throwing strength, depending on the attribute of that guy you're playing.
So I like the way these players were getting in a much better throwing position. These animations looked really fluid, really clean. So this one's another W for me. I'm liking everything so far. Then we get into the home run robbery part.
What's really cool now is we have 3 yellow arrows, a little bit more intuitive than what we had last year. and you see them now on the screen. You can see those as we're running those plays. They are timed to change to the green color each tick at a time. So when it gets to the third green arrow, then you know it's time to jump. But the cool thing is we did a lot of logic enhancements with robbing home runs, and we took our animations and allowed you to jump into the animation at different times. Because Ramon, like, when you're playing, there's different timings of robbing home runs. It's not always the same every single time. So it's really important that we had to go in there and make sure that those rob home run catches were timed perfectly for when you're hitting that button. So whether you're hitting it a little early or a little bit late, you have to hit it right after that last green arrow. And the other really cool thing about it is this year, and you probably didn't even know this, the glove reaches over the wall now. So we got new animations, we adjusted them. So instead of going straight up, the arm will now reach over the wall and rob those home runs when applicable.
Now, we already saw this a little bit on the Coach and Tatis video, but it makes perfect sense. Once it hits that third green arrow, that's the time to jump to give yourself the best chance to rob that home run if you even can. So once again, I like it. No problems here. They've also brought back the extreme catch indicator from MLB The Show 20, but now they've implemented it for plays at the wall.
Other than those, we have the extreme catch indicator that a lot of the guys that have played this game before are used to it, where we had those sinking line drives that would come on. It adds an element of suspense in the game. Should I go for it? Should I not? It's a high risk, high reward type play. And those essentially happen at the wall. So if I'm running and I'm trying to chase a ball down in the gap or over my head and I see that red indicator come on at the wall, well, I have to make a decision then, right? Just like a real player does. I mean, I have to either try to go for it or I'm going to play that ball off the wall. And so it's really cool to see that and you having to make those decisions when you're in the game.
So all of these indicators look really cool to me. I think they all have a spot in the game for competitive play, for casual play. They do seem to do a pretty good job of showing players the information that they need. And once again, you can customize these. You can turn these on or off based off the play style that you want. So overall, I'm a fan. So now we're jumping into some stuff about balls off the wall, which once again was kind of an issue in MLB The Show 20. They've added strafing and ways that your guys are going to play the ball smoother if they're bouncing off the wall.
Ramon, do you remember, like, if you would go set up at the wall, you had to be perfect, and if you weren't perfect, you were kind of, bad things were going to happen.
Yeah, it was no man's land where the ball hits and it squirts and your guys just running around like crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So what we did is we had to figure out a way to let the user, adjust in small increments if I needed to move to the right, left, up, back, right? Because when you go let off the stick and you're playing the ball off the wall, you're trying to line up with those ribbons that we're displaying. And if you're off just like 5-10 feet to the right or left, and then you move the stick, the guy would just take off running. And now you're literally, it's like a circus. You're trying to run that ball down somehow and catch it. Okay, so this year it's different. We added strafing to that position. So when I go set up at the wall, I can move up, back, right, left, and we have catches playing off the wall. Hundreds of catches that we did. And did I tell you already that we got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of new animations, and literally the majority of them are catches?
That's awesome. And what's really important that you mentioned, the strafing, this is done for you. And once you get close enough to the wall, he's going to break down and he's going to strafe for you. And as you're moving that stick left to right, they're going to be moving laterally. And like you said last year, if that ball hits the wall and squirted out, he just takes off running full speed. Now you basically have an outfielder who's broken down and you can strafe to the left and to the right like you talked about.
Yeah. It just makes something clear. You said it's happening for you. Well, the CPU's not doing it for you. You have to do it. But when you move the stick, we're making the assumption that you just want to move a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, just to line up with that ball, right? And so obviously, if you don't line up anywhere near where that ball is going to come off, then you're not going to strafe. You're going to run. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't apply in those situations. So yeah, you are strafing on your own.
Once again, another good addition for me. Anything that gets my player in a better throwing position and gets the ball to the infield quicker is going to be a welcome addition for me. Then they have this segment talking about the Z-axis catches. And honestly, it might be a little bit confusing because the terminology is just a little weird. I feel like if you just watch the clips, it kind of speaks for itself. You can see a little bit of the difference in these with the gameplay shown, so I'm not really going to dive too much into that here in this video. But once again, it's linked in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. They did also make some improvements to infield plays and infield animations, and this one right here is my personal favorite.
Oh yeah, that's another good one, Ramon. I'm glad you brought that up. That was always really frustrating for me. We always had problems making catches over the infielder's head. So specifically, like the middle infielders when they're going back on little bloopers or Texas leaguers and they're trying to go back and make those catches. We just didn't have enough catches to facilitate. And hopefully you're seeing them as you watch during those videos, that we have a couple of examples of Tatis going back and making some really nice catches. And it just kind of demonstrates the new catches we have for the over-the-shoulder catch on bloopers. And, you know, a lot of people complain also about, you know, weak contact getting hits. A lot of those hits are falling because we didn't have enough catches to play. But this year that's different. So I think those numbers are going to come down a little bit on the weak contact. That'll make you happy, Ramon.
I loved some of those animations that Fernando Tatis Jr. was getting, man. Those plays were a problem in previous years, and they said it in that clip. They just didn't have enough catches available in their game to make those players make those fluid catches. Because we all know some of those hits are quite annoying. And the last thing I'm going to touch on in this video is the throw accuracy meter, and I'm just going to explain this to you guys. Basically, what they were saying is that nobody ever really hit the red when you were using the meter. Everybody was getting green throws and maybe a yellow throw every once in a while. And they still wanted to make it a little bit harder because in their eyes, that's not really how it works. Red throws happen or bad throws happen. But honestly, if you got a hang of the throw meter, I don't really think you're going to be missing throws too much like this. I still think if you were good at the game in 20, you should probably still be pretty good at the game in 21 based off how you are with that throw meter. I don't think it's going to be as much of a change as some people may be speculating it is. So yeah, that's pretty much it. All these fielding improvements and additions look very solid to me. We got to take it all with a grain of salt. We got to see how the game plays because everything was looking good on 20 as far as fielding as well, and we got the game, and you know that wasn't really the case. So I'm very excited. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm gonna get my hands on the game, and hopefully all this stuff actually is executed in the gameplay that I experienced. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. How do you feel about these new indicators? Do you think they make the game too easy, too hard? Do you like some of these additions they've made to balls at the wall and balls in the outfield? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments. Go ahead and sound off down there. But that's gonna be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with all this news. Use code COOGS for 30% off G Fuel for the next week and a half. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.